It's Monday, July 28, 2025. Mental health is real. Seek help and the stigma. On the news this afternoon, PFN vows to guide members on 2027 Rivers governorship choice. House of Representatives propose all elections for one day in 2027. SDP NWC expels former Kaduna State Governor El Rufai for 30 years. On the foreign scene, 14 die of malnutrition in Gaza as Israel allows partial military pause for aid. I'm Ifechuku Moyele with the news. Now, the River State chairman of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, Minaibi Dagogojak, says the church is worried about the kind of political leaders that are chosen during elections. Speaking on Nigeria 4FM's Morning Crossfire, he said the church has the power to make a big difference in Nigeria's elections. He also said that if all the Pentecostal Christians work together, they can help choose the president of the country and the governor of River State. Dagogo Jack also criticized politicians for coming to churches to ask for support during elections, but forgetting the people once they win.
We are concerned about what is really happening in River State. So what do we do to bring the righteous people, morally sound people, not these politicians that will continue to treat our people with disdain? We are not fighting anyone, but because a recent survey reveals to us that the Pentecostals alone constitutes 60-something million people. If it will take 12-point-something million people to decide a president, half of what the Pentecostals are in Nigeria can decide more than that. In River State, if 130-something thousand can make a governor, 7 churches alone can produce that number of votes.
The PFN state chairman said River State urgently needs good leadership and clear direction. He said the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, will guide their members on who they believe should lead the state in the 2027 elections.
If they make any budget, it covers us as even church people. The Constitution of Nigeria has not stopped the church members to go and vote or to decide who to lead them. The level of suffering in River State is so much. I don't want to talk of Nigeria. It's very obvious about Nigeria. Is voting a sin? No. Mobilizing your people to go and vote, is it against the church or is it against the Constitution? No. Asking your people to go and get voters registered to go and vote, is it a sin? No. We shall direct the church members this time around. River State is enslaved. River State is in their need of direction and leadership.
Well, in the meantime, the House of Representatives has proposed a single day for the conduct of the 5 elections in 2027. If the proposal is upheld, the reviewed Electoral Act will empower the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to simultaneously conduct the presidential, senatorial, House of Representatives, governorship, and House of Assembly polls in one day. Other amendments being proposed by the House include the payment of 50 million naira by political associations seeking registration as parties, restriction of presidential election expenses to 10 billion naira, conduct of elections to 120 days before the expiration of the incumbent's term, and determination of election petition within 90 days after the exercise. The House also took steps to end series of by-elections arising from resignation and death of elected members of the State and National Assembly, proposing that parties who sponsored the lawmaker who died or resigned be made to produce his replacement. The Electoral Bill 2025, titled A Bill for an Act to Repeal the Electoral Act No. 13, 2022, and to enact the Electoral Act 2025 to regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area councils in the Federal Capital Territory elections and for related matters, passed through the second reading in the House. Now, the Senate has dismissed reports of a clash between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Senate Leader Yemi Bamidele, calling them false and misleading. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Yemi Adaramodu, on Sunday clarified in a statement that what occurred during the July 23rd executive session was a routine internal discussion, not a power struggle. Adramodu emphasized that vigorous debate is a normal and essential part of parliamentary democracy and does not signal division. He said the Senate remains united and fully supportive of its leadership, with all proposals subjected to thorough scrutiny in the interest of Nigerians. Meanwhile, the National Working Committee (NWC) of the Social Democratic Party (SDP) has expelled former Kaduna Governor Nasir El-Rufai from the party for the next 30 years. The SDP National Publicity Secretary Araba Rufus Anyeniwa, in a statement, said the party's NWC reached the decision following thorough investigation into El-Rufai's controversial claims of membership and his alleged backdoor political activities. The party also accused El-Rufai of falsely parading himself as a party member, manipulating internal processes, and attempting to destabilize the party through unconstitutional actions and deceptive political maneuvers. In another development, Labour Party chieftain Peter Obi says President Bola Tinubu has resorted to feeding Nigerians with wrong statistics to mask the country's economic woes. In a post on X today, Obi said Tinubu, who was the APC candidate during the 2023 election, mocked him for his reliance on data-driven governance. According to Obi, 2 years into President Tinubu's 4-year tenure, Nigeria is ranked among the hungriest nations in the world, with millions unsure of where their next meal will come from. He accused the president of using false data to paint a positive image for the economy. The former Anambra State governor added that governance requires sincerity of purpose and competence. Still to come, bandits kill 38 hostages after collecting ransom in Zamfara State. Stay with us.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back, and now the rest of the news. Residents of Banga village in Kaura, Namuda local government area of Zamfara State have been thrown into mourning following the brutal killing of 38 kidnapped villagers by bandits despite the payment of over 15 million naira as ransom. The chairman of Kaura Namuda local government area, Manir Haidara Kaura, told Channels Television that 56 persons were reportedly abducted from the village and 18 were later released. He added that the freed 18 victims have been admitted to hospital for medical treatment. Moving on now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has declared the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) refusal to permit female corps members to wear skirts in accordance with their religious beliefs as unconstitutional. In a landmark judgment delivered on 13 June, the judge, Hawa Yelwa, held that compelling female participants in the scheme to wear trousers contrary to their sincerely held religious convictions amounted to a breach of their right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution, a relevant human rights instrument. The case was brought by two former corps members, Ogunjobi Blessing and Ayoba Vivian, who argued that the NYSC's uniform policy infringed upon their Christian faith. Now, the National Youth Service Corps has released the deployment list for the 2025 Batch B Stream 1 prospective corps members. The scheme made this known in away from will be verified at noon. The 508 staff members of the River State Primary Healthcare Management Board and the 102 staff members from the River State House of Assembly will be verified later in the day. The 5-day exercise, which started last Wednesday, is part of the state government effort to sanitize the payroll system and ensure that only duly engaged personnel remain on the wage list. In other news, the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, NAMS, says it will embark on a 7-day warning strike over the federal government's failure to address its pending demands. The association earlier issued a 15-day ultimatum to the federal government starting July 14, after which it stated that it will embark on industrial action if its demands were still not met. Speaking in an interview, NAM's chairman, Jama Medan, in the Federal Capital Territory said the association is currently mobilizing to down tools in all primary, secondary and tertiary health institutions across the country. And now in business, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to promoting domestic investment and addressing the challenges faced by local investors. She said this during a visit to the $20 billion Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals and Dangote Fertilizer Limited in Ibeju-Lekki, Lagos State. She said the administration is demonstrating real support for domestic investors by taking practical steps to reduce constraints and foster growth. She added that the federal government is continuously engaging with stakeholders and reviewing regulatory and legislative frameworks to reduce business costs and stimulate industrial development. On his part, the founder of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, hailed President Bola Tinubu as a listening president whose policies are restoring investor confidence in Nigeria's economy. And now in entertainment, veteran singer and activist Charles Oputa, popularly known as Charlie Boy, has publicly criticized the Bariga Local Council Development Area, LCDA, for renaming the iconic Charlie Boy bus stop to Bado Bus Stop as part of a new street rebranding effort. The chairman of the Bariga LCDA, Kolade David, said the renaming was to Development Area LCDA for renaming the iconic Charlie Boy bus stop to Bado Bus Stop as part of a new street rebranding. Kolade David said the renaming was to honor notable Nigerian entertainers and public figures, including Olamide Bado, Nice, Tony Tatwila, Bukayo Saka, and King Sunny Ade. But Charlie Boy has described the move as an attempt at legacy erasure. He accused the authorities of being uncomfortable with his long-standing activism and fearless outspokenness. In sports, Al Nassr have agreed to a deal worth up to £43.7 million for Chelsea forward João Felix. The 25-year-old has been given permission to travel to Riyadh for his medical to complete the move. Felix will link up with fellow Portugal international Cristiano Ronaldo at the Saudi Pro League side after they saw off interest from his former club, Benfica. On the international scene, Hamas-run health ministry says another 14 people have died of malnutrition in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The deaths were announced as Israel pauses military operations in part of Gaza for 10 hours per day to allow more aid distribution. Israel says the new plan began on Sunday with more than 120 trucks of aid delivered by the UN and others. The UN has welcomed the move but says it needs to be sustained. On the news this afternoon, you heard the PFN has vowed to guide its members on 2027 Rivers governorship choice. The House of Representatives has proposed all elections for one day in 2027. The SDP NWC has expelled former Kaduna State Governor El Rufai for 30 years. On the foreign scene, 14 people have died of malnutrition in Gaza as Israel allows partial military pause for aid. The news was edited by Martha Okere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Moyeli. Many thanks for listening.